People have been staring at me from the moment that I was born. My earliest memory of being stared at from my port wine stained birthmark is from when I was about 5 years old, and a man couldn't seem to keep his eyes off my cheek. Imagine an adult man staring at a 5-year-old, all for how she was born, making her feel uncomfortable, making her feel out of place. Sadly, this happens to a lot of individuals with body differences and disabilities, just like me. According to the Cleveland Clinic, 3 out of 1,000 babies are born with port wine stained birthmarks. It's easy to assume by looking at me that my condition is just a skin pigmentation issue, but it's so much more complex than that. My birthmark is caused by tiny little blood vessels that have extra growth. And in my case, it goes all the way to my brain, and it causes me migraines, glaucoma in both eyes, teeth complications, and so much more. And in fact, if you were to actually look at my ears, look up my nose, and look at the roof of my mouth, you would see the color difference in all the places. Not that I regularly go up to strangers and say, hey, you want to look up my nose and in the roof of my mouth? It's super cool. You can see the color difference in all the places. Though, I would be lying if I said that I haven't made this offer once or twice and that people haven't taken me up on it. What can I say? It's a really cool party trick. Bullies have come and gone. Some are memorable, some aren't. Some have made me laugh, and some have made me cry. The man who was staring at me when I was 5 years old, he wasn't the first to do so, and he hasn't been the last. I remember my mom trying to block his stares, and she couldn't, and it was super frustrating. And it's kind of funny because I'm 32 now, and she still tries to do this, and I'm now taller than her, and I can see people staring at me from above her head. And I've had 32 years to memorize all of her moves. But she took this frustrating moment, and she turned it into a learning one, I think, for the both of us. And she looked at me and said, I know what he's doing is frustrating, and I know it's unkind. But what if this man is having one of the worst days of his life? And what if you're the only person to potentially smile at him on this worst day of his life? So I looked at him and I grinned. He smiled back and his stare broke. When I was 20, one of the worst bullying moments of my life happened. My picture was taken and someone added their text to my logo, and I became a clickbait sympathy meme. They had the text "One like equals beautiful," and I went viral to over 30 million people around the world. They also added their logo to my photo, which I also didn't give permission for, which I blurred out for this purpose. And it's kind of insane. It was a very shocking moment. And so I just remember going viral and staring at my picture, and they say a picture is worth 1,000 words, and there were fictional thousands of words next to my image. And I just remember people leaving comments saying, doesn't she know she's beautiful yet? It's like they assumed that I didn't know my confidence, I didn't know my worth. And that's what a lot of people assumed even before this happened. But I never needed their validation for my beauty, and I still didn't. I was never seeking that out, whether I was online or off. And I just remember reading comments after comment, which is a bad idea no matter how old you are. And I remember reading comments like, of course that's not beautiful. For all we know, she's drowning kittens in her swimming pool. And I thought, when did I become a that instead of a person? When did I become a that instead of a she? When did I become a that instead of a human with feelings, with a story? How am I so different? And my picture was also going viral with premature babies, kids with cancers, animals with missing limbs. I wasn't the only one. And little did people realize that this person who stole my image was using these pictures as a Facebook ploy to gain his following. That's what I was being used for. But through these experiences, I was learning the pictures we see online, the videos we see online, there's so much more than pixels on a screen. The pictures we see online, they're someone's daughter, they're someone's friend, they're someone's wife. They're a role model. I am someone's daughter, someone's friend, someone's wife, someone's role model. It's important to be kind to one another no matter what people look like, no matter what they don't look like, whether you're online, whether you're off. We are all humans. We all have feelings. We all have a story, whether you see it, whether you don't. Kindness matters. But I've also learned that, including myself, we all seem to have internal stains, as I've told my story. We all have stains, whether we feel like it's our weight, whether it's our acne and our insecurities and that, a past mistake, a past regret. And we feel like people stare and they cling on to those. And they don't let go. And so I want to ask you, what stain do you feel like you have? Yeah, I have a port wine stain. Literally, it's in the name of my birthmark, but what stain do you feel like you have? Whether it's from when you were 12 or yesterday or last week, last year, what are you holding on to? What do you feel people cling on to? And how do you wish people were kinder to you? How do you wish people would encourage you instead of discourage you? How can you be kinder to someone else, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, or a stranger? And as someone with a birthmark, there are a couple ways I wish people would be kinder to me. I wish people wouldn't stare. I wish people wouldn't make assumptions about my story. But I also wish people wouldn't come up to me and say, "Hey, what's wrong with your face?" Instead, I wish people would say, "Do you mind if I ask what happened to your face?" The tone and the wording make a huge difference. But better than that, I wish people would go beyond what they see and go beyond their general curiosity and get to know me as a person. What's my name? How is my day going? What do I do for fun? I can count on one hand how many people have gone from my physical difference to what makes us the same. One hand. They get the answer to their curiosity and they walk away. And I never see them again. There are some birthmark perks that I have found in my life. You might forget my name, but I have an unforgettable face. My niece Madison, she sees a little unicorn on my face, so that's pretty cool. I think of her every time I see my unicorn. But also, I only have to wear about half the amount of makeup that most women have to wear. And it takes me about half the time, half the money, and I love 50% off of anything. Just ask my husband. I love a good deal. But that's the fun side that you're missing out on when you don't go beyond the cover of what you see when you meet me. When you're not willing to explore who I am as a person. It's okay to be curious. It's fine to be curious. Just be curious in a kind way. And don't forget to see me. It's okay to see my stain. Just don't forget to see all of me. Thank you.